Okay, we are live. Good to see you today, my EOS Podcast friends. We have Jarib from Horuspay. We're going to talk all about EOS, what's going on right now, and then, of course, what is going on with Horuspay. So nice to have you on the show, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be on the show. So my name is Jarib. I'm the founder of Horuspay, and very excited to be here.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, of course. And what's the most interesting thing you think is going on in EOS right now?
Hey, so there's a lot of things going on, and as I said earlier, it's very hard to keep up with everything that is going on. But I see some voting being enabled in Blocks.io, and I saw that this morning. And there's some things regarding the referendum and things like that. People are starting to vote there, and then I'm looking forward to try to do more research and learn more about it to start voting there. For example, there was a vote that was going on for one vote per token, trying to bring that back. That was interesting. So those guys are doing a lot of interesting things with that site. So definitely it's hard to keep up because they keep adding new features. So but yeah, we're pretty cool.
Yeah, they move so fast. It's hard to know what's going to happen next. And that one token, one vote. It'll be really interesting to see how that plays out if that gets voted through, because there wouldn't be the incentive for maybe whales to collude, or for the BPs or I guess not necessarily BPs, but for whales to trade votes within the ecosystem. So that might give us a pretty big shift in the top 21 BPs, which will be interesting. Anytime there's like a jostling around of the block producers, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So were you on the Steemit site ever at all? Did you ever use that site?
Yeah, I was on Steemit, but it's been a while since I've been out of there. I'm using mostly Medium for articles that I write for Horuspay, but sometimes I re-steam it on Steemit. But yeah, I used to be there.
Yeah, that something interesting that happened on Steemit that's happening on Steemit was the top 21 witnesses or the top 30 witnesses or so kind of got locked into place and then have just stayed there forever. And it disincentivized new witnesses or new, essentially, block producers for coming in and trying to add value to the system because of the kind of the set hierarchy there. So hopefully, as we see EOS grow, there'll continue to be a little bit of movement within the block producers. So when that gets stagnant, it ruins a lot of the chain, or it ruins people maybe wanting to come in and help with it. So yeah, that's kind of one of the big failings of Steemit that I saw. Whereas the community is huge, like in EOS. So that's a big positive for Steemit. But so tell us a little bit about Horuspay, your project. Obviously, it's hard to keep up with everything in EOS when you also are building a project. So what is that, and how's it work?
So Horseface is a global payroll platform that enables payroll vendors to exchange encrypted payroll data with their clients. Those clients would be regular companies looking for payroll services. So it's a global payroll platform that also has other features built in and other applications that we're also building. But the core of it is a payroll software that allows payroll vendors and clients to exchange payroll data. So let's say, for example, if you are an international company with 100 employees around the world, let's say that you have 10 employees in Canada, 30 in the US, 5 in Brazil, and so on in different countries. When you're processing payroll, you want to streamline your processes. So if you don't have a software like the one we're building, you're probably stuck with a company like ADP or a global payroll aggregator that hires vendors on those countries to process the payroll for them. And then, so this is cutting them off the table. So you're cutting off the middleman, and then you're interacting directly with those vendors, because this global payroll vendors, they don't have offices in all those countries that they're offering services at. They're just the middleman in between the deal. So, and the only value that they're adding is just this global payroll platform that allows the clients and the payroll vendors to come together to this payroll platform and exchange data. So imagine the scenario that I was describing. You have 100 employees. When you're going to run payroll, if you don't have this global payroll tool to streamline your processes, you're going to be all over the place. Like you're going to have data coming in probably emails that is against the law in most of the countries. They should not be exchanging data, payroll data in emails. And this is what most of the small companies do, because they don't have the money to hire a big payroll provider to process payroll for 100 employees, because the less amount of employees you have, the higher the cost, because they have a markup. So they basically make 50-80% markup per employee. That number goes down when you have 50,000 employees, but if you have 100, they don't care about you. So those are the clients that we're trying to provide services to. And then especially blockchain companies, by nature, they're a global company with a small headcount of employees, and they struggle with the global payroll when they're trying to stay in compliance, because it's not just paying people in crypto and you're good to go, you're off the hook. You have to be in compliance with the law and do things right. And that's what real companies are registered, and they want to be on compliance. They do that. They're not going to be paying people off the book on crypto. They want to use a payroll vendor that offered them the service of calculating taxes and whatnot.
So would you say that the main user would be a small to mid-size international or global business?
Yes, those are so Horuspay has two clients. One is the client that is looking for payroll services that will come to Horuspay and would see the list of vendors are using our platform, and they could interact with them and do business directly with them. No middleman. And the second client would be the payroll vendors themselves. And those are the ones that we're going to target the most, because when they come on board, they bring 30, 40 clients, 50 clients, and then our usage goes through the roof. So those are the strategy there, is tackle the vendors first and bring them over to the platform. And then the interesting thing, something that people don't know, is that these in-country vendors around the world, they don't have a payroll software like the one we're building. So they're very interested in coming on board and working with us. They're extremely excited. So it is a payroll. It is a strong solution for a market that is not being disrupted by anybody, just because there are a handful of global payroll providers that they just dominate the industry. So we're coming in using blockchain that allows to secure data, to encrypt things, and then give us, the structure of a multi-million-dollar company with just a few blockchain developers. Something that is revolutionary now because of blockchain.
So
on EOS,
on EOS, yeah. So these big, it's basically big international corporations that have kind of a control over this, and that's because, so say I'm in the United States and I want to pay 10 employees in the United States, and then I want to pay 10 employees in Japan and 10 employees in somewhere in Europe. I need to go through a global middleman, basically, who's going to work with the payment processors out of each of those countries,
Right.
consolidate that information and put it into one place for me to access. Is that what the middleman's doing?
Yes, correct. So exactly right. So the middleman is streamlining the process for you,
Mhm.
because if you have employees in 10 different countries, your payroll processes when you're running payroll, either you're going to have a big team of more than 10 payroll processors in doing all the international payroll for you, or offices on those countries doing the payroll for you. But you don't want to have all that headcount just to process payroll. You want to consolidate, have a few international payroll specialists that will be able to do 8 countries at the same time. So they can do 8 countries at the same time because they have only one software that they're working on at the time that they're exchanging data. So the data exchange in payroll is sort of like the major problem, because you have salary change, terminations, time and attendance, this employee clock in, this employee clock out. So somebody have vacation. All this data needs to flow. And then if you're in 10 different countries, all this data becomes a nightmare if your processors are not consolidated in one software. So yeah, so that's what Horuspay is one software that will take all that data and distribute it to the payroll vendors in those countries, and they can exchange this data on Horuspay, and then this data would not be on the blockchain. However, it would be hashed on the blockchain. So you now have proof as a client that you send data, and then you can that will go back. That would be tagged to a hash that you see it on the blockchain, that you send data to the vendor and the vendor downloaded the data, right? So this eliminates the need to the middleman, because now there's no need for middlemen to say, yes, the client sent the data and the vendor didn't upload the files on time. There is no need for that dispute, because blockchain you're not able to change things on the blockchain. They're timestamp, and then is that's the nature of it, and that's one of the solutions
So
to this.
do
Yeah.
you have a database that you keep all this information in, or is it only just a hash of transactions that are going on within databases in different countries? Or are you
So
keeping it just off blockchain?
yeah, we're keeping the data off the blockchain.
Okay.
So because there are different laws that it's depending on the country and the region, that the data needs to be, you need to be able to delete the data, and this data be protected more than anything, because we're talking bank accounts, we're talking social securities, we're talking like highly confidential data. So we're keeping details about our database confidential, just because the legality and the sensitivity of the data that we're handling. But yes, this data is 100% of the blockchain. Um, so, but we're hashing that data. So in order for you to prove that you send that data using the blockchain, right? It's like a FedEx package. So here's the tracking number, right? And then you prove to the vendor that I sent you the data and you downloaded the data. So there is no, I didn't see it, or you didn't send it type of issue. That's the most common one, is you didn't send the new hire. So let's say that it's time to pay your employees and you're missing the paycheck for the new hire. And then your question is, what happened? And then they go like, oh, you didn't send the data, but you did, but there's no way for you to prove it. And then emails is not the way to go. So, like this software would allow you to exchange this encrypted data that is protected, and you're on compliance. So you're in compliance with legislation. You're not doing things off the book.
Because a lot of the smaller companies are doing this via email and things off the books just to get it done, but aren't
correct. They're doing it just because they don't have the money to hire an aggregator that is going to charge them 50 to 80% more than the real cost.
So it sounds like Horuspay is providing a lot of the same service to the end user that these big middlemen are. The difference is you've made it more efficient, and so you're going to be able to charge a lot less for it. You're not going to have to take that 50 to 80% markup. Is that the deal?
Exactly. We don't want to be the middleman in between the transaction. So we're going to have a basic fee to use the platform. And then if we charge any percentage, would be less than 5%. Okay. So we don't want to be in the middle. We just want to charge in order to be profitable and maintain the service, but we don't want to charge an arm and a leg. Mm-hmm. And then we want to encourage companies to come on board. So
how do you take, where does profit come from in a company like this? Is it coming off let's say with one of the bigger corporations, is it coming off a percentage of the total amount paid or per transaction, or how do they charge that?
So the profit will come in from users on the platform. So companies and payroll vendors come in and buying additional memory to storage payroll files, just using the platform. The more they use it, the more people we can sign up, the more we make. So we want to be affordable, and then the idea is to have more people adapt to our payroll solution. So, and then down the road, we have way more other software that would add on to this ones, and those, we'll be able to charge more for it. So,
yeah, that makes sense. What's the future? You talked about other things in the future. What's the future of Horuspay look like? It sounds like you've got, well, let's stay on right now. How much of this is currently built, and kind of what's it look like right now?
So we have the minimum viable product built already, where in the platform you're able to send and receive files from payroll vendors, and then we're currently testing it. And then so that's where we are right now. So that's all the progress that we have done since EOS launch. We airdropped the token. We released the staking contract for the token, and then we made all that progress on the platform. So for 2019, our plan is to continue developing the platform, and to also add a time and attendance module, that it will be a separate application, part of Horuspay, but it's not the global payroll platform. It's just a separate application that would interact with our platform. And so this time and attendance is basically a smart contract. And then where employees will clock in and out, and all that data will flow into Horuspay.
And is the team using crypto right now? And what's the difference between using crypto, which seems like it might be simpler, and trying to on-ramp fiat, or using fiat? What's that look like?
So when you're saying that, you're saying it for paying employees, or?
Yeah, for paying employees. Say I had an employees in Singapore or something, and I wanted to pay them in EOS. Is it functioning right now, yeah?
So that is one of our tools that is not built yet, and we're working on it. But what we want to do is we want to maintain the current system of paying employees with fiat. So these payroll vendors, they offer money movement services, And then we will also have a third-party vendor partner that would offer this money movement services for our clients. So we want to maintain the fiat payment, because in order for you to encourage any type of new technology, you need to maintain the current one. There's no way that I can onboard 100 companies if I say, hey, this is only crypto. So the idea is to maintain the current system that employees are paid in fiat, and also providing these cryptocurrency tools that they would eventually need. So let's say, let's paint a scenario where cryptocurrency is very needed. Let's say that there is an error in payroll and an employee got paid inaccurately or didn't get paid, or let's say that it's more than one employee, and this has happened before, where it's a group of employees, or 100 employees, for example, from a 10,000 employee company. Getting paid these employees timely is a headache, because ACH transactions take 48 hours minimum, 3 days to clear. 48 to 72 hours. You don't have that type of luxury, especially with international employees that are in other countries where money, they live paycheck by paycheck. Money is extremely important. Not that it's not here in the US and in developed countries, but these people literally won't be able to eat if they don't get their paycheck on time. So it's extremely important, and it's extremely expensive to solve a problem like this when you can make a payroll disbursement using cryptocurrency in just seconds. So you can fix the error in the calculation and transmit the money via crypto, and then have a way to convert that into fiat. That's the future tool. That's a really good solution for the problem. And then our job is to provide those tools that when the scenario happens, they use the tool and they go like, why are we disbursing payroll, every single payroll, with this feature? We should be using this for payroll. And then before you know it, we have way more companies utilizing it, paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, it seems like one of the pain points is that there's always, like with ACH, there's that 2-day window where you have to wait for money to be transferred. It's going to take 2 or 3 days, and hopefully it's not over a weekend. And so the ability to cut that out is big, as far as something bigger picture in the future. So you mentioned staking as well. Actually, I have my Horuspay, my Horus token staked through, I think I used EOS Toolkit. So thank you, EOS Toolkit. And yeah, you guys have a good little staking program. What is that? And so people know, how's it going? And yeah, tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, so eCash is because on the utility aspect of it, Horus, the token, allows you to have access to the payroll platform, and eCash is the equivalent of memory, of additional memory on the platform. So let's say that you're a payroll vendor, you're going to need eCash to get additional memory, because the standard amount of memory that you will get as a client will not be enough, because you have 30-40 clients, and maybe some of those clients are big, so you're going to need a lot of memory. So you're going to need to get some of that eCash to get access to more memory on the platform. So that's what eCash is. And then our idea is to make eCash in the future a stable currency, in order to use it within our platform to disperse payroll and to send funds from one country to another. So that's the future plan for eCash. So the staking is a way to decentralize that process and put it on the hands of the people that own or tokens. So that way, if you own Horus, you own a piece of that. You own a piece of eCash. So clients and payroll vendors that would eventually acquire a bunch of horse and stake it in order to have additional memory added on their package, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's a little bit analogous to how EOS works, where you stake your EOS, and then you have a sec part of the bandwidth or CPU or RAM. Sounds like memory in your case. So the future looks like maybe if I had a big company, I would stake a bunch of Horus so that basically the rewards from that I would put towards eCash to keep my memory flowing or however. So,
Correct. Yes. And if you're a Payroll vendor, that's exactly what you would do. You would take 10 million horse, stake it, and have that memory additional memory added constantly on your plan, because you're going to be adding more clients. The longer you use the platform, the more files you will be sending in on the storage in those files in the platform. So
cool. Tell us a little bit about your the team, like who else is on your team, and how you guys got started.
So I this sorry about that. So I have about 6 people on our team.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very diverse team, but most of us are here in the US. So the most of the people interact with is Jack. Jack is our blockchain guru. This is what I call him. He's the one that wrote the staking contract. He's the one that did the airdrop. So Jack is our blockchain expert and C++ expert. And then I have Scott. You probably met him in the San Francisco hackathon. He's a full stack. He's a blockchain developer as well. I'm very happy to have him. And then we also have Gunnar. He's a PhD electrical engineer, and he's going to play a big role into when we start having those clock in devices that need to be programmed and they need to be interacting with blockchain. So he's going to be the guy programming those. And then Jesse, or front end developer, he's amazing. He's previously worked with Sony and other big companies, and then he's really good in making things user friendly. And then something that we haven't announced, but Daniel is also in our team. He's a developer for Everpedia, and he's also the second place winner in the London hackathon. So we're going to be announcing that pretty soon. You heard it first.
I was going to say, you're going to be announcing it pretty soon, like tomorrow in about 12 hours from now when this video comes out.
Yeah, we wait a little bit before give enough time before people.
Yeah. Cool. Well, you can let me know when you want this to go out for your announcement of your new team member. That's cool though. Yeah, you got a great team. I mean, I've heard of or know a lot of those developers. So sounds like you got a great team. That's cool.
Yes, cool. I can't complain. I'm very happy. We have a very talented team. So
did your team compete in the hackathon? I mean, I know some of them were on other projects in London, but did your team compete in any of the hackathons as Horuspay?
So yeah, we competed in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
We started everything from scratch. So we came up with the idea, and then we developed the idea during the hackathon. So it wasn't anything Horuspay, because that wouldn't be fair. Mm-hmm. or the other teams that will come out and present something that we've been cooking for months. That's mm-hmm. not fair. So yeah, it was totally unrelated to Horuspay or finance. We just came out with a cool idea and try to pitch it. It was fun.
Yeah, that San Francisco hackathon was great. It reminded me of the first Tulip conference in June when the blockchain launched in San Francisco too. It was just fun to have everyone in one spot, and there, a lot of excitement. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It was even in the same place, in the same location.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, same exact venue. Block One definitely showed how to use that venue compared to the Tulip conference for sure.
Yeah,
But
everybody knew where it was. So I looked up and I'm like, I know where it is. So I know
yeah,
where to stay. I know how to get there. That was good.
yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Um, so what's next for your team? Like, what's the shortest thing away on the roadmap right now?
So we're concentrating now on the time and attendance tool that we're building,
Mm-hmm.
because we believe that this is something that could be used separately from Horuspay, and it would be really good to get people on board, familiar with the brand, and it's something that is very needed in payroll. So that's the idea, launching the time and attendance tool that could be used separately from the platform, and then starting to get our name out there in the payroll world.
All
So
right. Cool. Well, that's a competitive world, but there's not teams out there doing crypto. I would love that if I was. I've run some businesses in the past. If I was running a business and had people on payroll, I would love to have a Horuspay or something that they had an option to pay in crypto. That'd be fantastic. So I think that'll be a pretty cool niche for you guys as you get started. Um,
oh,
so
thank you. Yeah.
yeah, of course.
So imagine
Yeah, go ahead.
so imagine you being able to in a single smart contract, you've been able to have your employees clock in and then get paid at the end of the day just by using this time and attendance using
Wow.
crypto. That would be pretty cool.
That's a really interesting one. I hadn't thought of that. Like, why do you have to wait till the end of the work week or till the end of the month for a paycheck? And really, traditionally, I would guess that the reason is so that they don't have to be doing payroll all the time. It's like it's just limiting the workload
Exactly.
for the payroll. But if that's done through a smart contract, you can get paid by the hour. Come in, work a half
Exactly.
day, and get paid. Get
And if
paid.
you don't know, yeah, and if you're working as a contractor, for example, for a company that you don't know, but then you see that this crypto is being added to the smart contract, and the smart contract is going to be releasing your paycheck after your work day, then that creates the trust, right, between the two parties involved, because you're sure that after you clock out, you're going to get paid, and
Mhm.
you're not sitting around waiting to see if you get paid or not. But those are additional things that we're adding to it. But the time and attendance would also work if you just want a log time, if you just want employees to clock in and out and export that data. That'll work as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the contractors and like even just like maybe an independent construction person who would like this is a little bit off, a little bit different situation, but problem that construction guys have is they'll go, bid a job. This is going to cost $20,000. I just want I want 10% up front and then the rest when I'm finished. So they get
Right.
their $2,000 and then they finish and the person owes them $18,000 and then takes 6 months to pay them.
Exactly. Yes, and that applies to a lot of industry, as you mentioned. That
Mhm.
the biggest struggle is to collect that money after the job is done. But what
Mhm.
if you have a way to prove that you're on this location at the job site, working this amount of hours, and
Mhm.
then with that client, funds the smart contract with the next amount of crypto that is being disbursed to you after you finish X amount of hours. So you can agree with this person based on the requirements of the job and whatnot, and then settle the disbursement of the payment using the smart contract.
Yeah, there's all these cool little angles where trust is involved just in everyday life that you don't notice that could be just a little bit of technology can be streamlined. It's pretty cool.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you're doing sounds like a small niche, but it's just another one of those things. It's so far reaching. It's, once you start thinking about all the different uses.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, if people are trying to find you online or anywhere, what's the best place to contact you or see more about Horuspay?
So Horuspay.io, that's our website, and then you can click on our Telegram group and join. I will also send you the link for our Telegram. I'm very active there, so you can just stop by and private message me or just message me directly on the group. I'm always there.
Cool. So we covered kind of where Horuspay is and what the bigger picture is. Is there anything we glossed over? Any final thoughts you'd like to add as we start to wind down here?
So I mean the biggest thing is asking the community for patience. While we build all these tools, it's not something that it can be built overnight, and then after we'll build and we want to test them, because we're dealing with very sensitive information and data. So that's something that I wanted to let the community know, that it's gonna take some time to build all this, but after it's built, it's gonna be very rewarding. So that's one of the things, and then the other thing is that the market is not something that affects us. So we're pumped because we know that these tools are going to make a difference on the real world. Is not only crypto. So
yeah, that's a good indicator of teams who are on the right track. I think is ones that aren't worried about the market or don't really talk about it, because if you're building something that's like a legitimate company or has a legitimate use case, it doesn't necessarily matter what the value of EOS is. It's not that's not why we're here trying to build stuff on EOS, because we're hoping the price pumps. That's like that hopefully will happen someday, obviously, but a lot of people that are here building stuff like Horuspay right now, not worried. Not worried. The text there, so that's cool. That's really cool.
You got it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the show. And the EOS podcast, I've got a cool new website. Thank you again to Ash Oro, who hooked me up with the EOSpodcast.com, so you can find it easy. I've got the videos there. I've got a link so you can listen to the actual podcast version, because not all this comes out just in video on YouTube. It also comes out in a cool audio version, so you can go pretend like you're working at your office and really be listening to the EOS podcast in your earbuds. EOS San Francisco, our block producer. We're having a good time trying to help the EOS ecosystem. Check it out. And Horuspay. Go check that out also. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. You bet. Anytime.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The money is not the prime asset in life. Time is, and your time is just